Hello everyone and welcome to Starched. I am your host, Bacon Jake Bradley. You might remember me as the person who covered the International Watermelon Smashing Competition over in Osaka, Japan, and now I'm here to talk about two different CWF shows that happened in August. Unfortunately, Stevie Mondo could not make this recording because he is off following the Chargers in all their preseason games. So instead I have...
Oh, I'm here.
An intern who doesn't even know her own name, which is fine because it doesn't matter what your name is.
You never asked.
I don't care.
I'm just here to get paid. Get on with it.
It's an unpaid internship.
Whatever.
You'll get your class credit when you're done. Fine. We're going to just talk about these matches as quickly as we can because I think that they have a good lesson to teach those of you out there who dream of someday being in the squared circle of the CWF. Our first event we're going to talk about is Magnitude, the ironically named event because I'm fairly certain it didn't register on the Richter scale at all. This event occurred in Northern California and featured several new combatants, all of whom probably need to workshop a little bit harder, except for a couple. We will get to them. First off, let's talk about Jiraiya. My goodness, a man who only won this competition through sheer luck. Most people who put on a shoddy show like that wouldn't even be called jobbers because it would be a bit of a compliment. Jiraiya, if you ever expect to be anywhere in the CWF, may I highly recommend developing an angle and learning how to not mumble into a mic. Next up is Heather Mason, a person who brutally attacked Gumshoe back at a previous competition, and I see that anger still has not subsided. While someone like Stevie might enjoy her antics and her rage, I found them a bit lacking.
Personally, I actually like her.
Of course you do.
She's got guts! What do you expect?
Heather, however, I think has the chance to pick that rage, turn it to something powerful, and make her quite the threat. Hopefully without using a baseball bat at a later CWF show.
Maybe next time it's a chair.
It's like your Stevie's little sister or something. Coming in with a more positive attitude was Apollo Justice. He had so much energy, I thought the room would actually wake up.
Is he actually a lawyer?
Well, it's kind of complicated, but technically, yes. Another lawyer in the CWF. Apollo, I love the energy. However, we have far too many lawyers in the CWF at this time, and unfortunately, that'll get you overshadowed. But with an energetic attitude like yours, I think you could make it far in the CWF. Then we had Isabel, who used kind of the cutesy routine. It was fine, but not quite what I expect in the CWF. You might need to work on that angle a bit harder because you will get wiped out by a lot of the other competition that comes out a lot more fierce and a lot more intense.
Kind of a shame. I actually do like her. I know how she feels. I wonder why!
Moving on, we will talk about Navi. Navi, you need a tag partner. I'm not saying it needs to be an elf in green tights, but it should at least be someone who can give you that extra oomph you need to be noticed by the competition. When you made it into the second round, I forgot that you were in the first round. You need a partner, and I think that'll turn it around for you. However, the person who stole the show for me was Chun Li. Not only is she a respected member of Interpol, but she put up a great fight at Magnitude. She was fierce, she was intense, she won over the crowd, and she was robbed of the win by Jiraiya and his silly antics. Chun Li, you deserve better than Magnitude. You should move into the higher ranks. Be it Blackout, be it Phantomania, be it any other event, I could see you crush the competition, not only with a spinning bird kick, but also with your spinning bird wit. And yes, sadly, her loss was a loss for the entire show, as Jiraiya took the championship and was challenged by a surprise competitor, the host of the show, who we have neglected speaking about until this point, Matt the Rockstar. I will say, as a broadcaster, it is quite unprofessional for the host of a show to enter the competition himself. However, Matt, I will admit, you were the strongest competitor of the entire show.
Didn't he have like a lot of singles in Japan?
That too, he has quite the career as both a musician and as a cosplay wrestler. The fact that you trounced Jiraiya and got no respect for it is an insult to the CWF. In my book, sir, the best fight could have possibly been you versus Chun Li. Powerful verbal attacks, the likes of which we haven't seen in quite some time. But sadly, the competition did not go that direction, making for a rather lackluster conclusion to what was, sadly, a lackluster event. However, that's not the only show we're talking about on this episode. After the break, we're going to be talking about Absolute Chaos, and the absolute chaos that it was.
Wait, there's more?
Oh yes, there's more.
Great.
Hey, do you know where to go for the latest CWF action? Do you know where to get news, updates, and more? And how much would you pay for this? $50 a month? $9.99 a month? How about free? Go to Twitter and follow at the CWF Universe. Hit up Facebook and follow the Cosplay Wrestling Federation. Do you want clips, promos, and much, much more? Well, dude, we got it for you. Go to YouTube and subscribe to the Cosplay Wrestling Federation channel. And after that, hit up Twitch and check out the CWF Network. There's so much action online, it will blow your mind. If you don't follow, you're gonna get left behind, because CWF is in your house and in your face. And we're back to talk about one of the most pathetic amateur jobs I've ever seen in my life. While some amateur shows can reach the thing of legend, Absolute Chaos was a thing of tragedy. It was mismanaged from the get-go, and only a few points of the show were ever truly enjoyable. This was one of the worst outings of cosplay sports entertainment that I've ever seen in my life. And I have been a commentator on cosplay sports entertainment since its inception. The audience was lucky, though, for the announcer was a dear friend of mine, the Budokai announcer. From one sportscaster to another, good job, sir. You were one of the highlights of the show. However, the lowlights came in the actual contestants. The first person who came up was Retsuko, the angry red panda, who had no anger and merely mumbled into her mic at such a quiet voice that I had no idea what she was saying. And when you're going out there to entertain the fans, people actually have to know what you're saying. Jiraiya was bad with his mumbling. Retsuko, you may have been worse. The second person up was pop diva Britney Britney. Someone who must have lip-synced all her songs because she didn't know how a microphone worked. At no point did she use her mic properly, and unlike other people who came up later in the show, she couldn't project her voice either. The fact that she was allowed in the show, the fact that she made it to finals, proves to me, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that shenanigans were going on behind the scenes with this event. And that alone makes this a terrible event. Nobody wants a Burbank screwjob. They want to see a show that plays out properly with a champion worthy of the audience.
Did people remember the 90s?
God, I hope so.
Well, you know the Backstreet Boys are back.
All right. Contestant number 3 was John Wick, former, possibly current assassin. While I do not approve of criminals being in the CWF, I will say that this anti-hero brought some energy that the show was really lacking. Unfortunately, he got horribly snubbed for reasons that I cannot possibly imagine, though I'm sure if I heard what they were, it would make me flip a table.
Did somebody kick another puppy?
I hope not. Our final contestant was someone who came out of nowhere. Big Bad Blur. With all the energy and excitement of an atomic bomb, he rushed in, screaming, yelling, and having a lot of energy, projecting his voice without a mic. Unfortunately, his angle really didn't seem to catch on. Perhaps if he came up with some new angle, he could become a champion who might blow everyone away with speed and weight. After all 4 contestants gave their showing, they announced who would make it to the second round. Surprise, it's all 4 contestants. Then the show was interrupted with the signing of the contract between Phoenix Wright and Super Mario, 2 former champions ready to bring their grudge match to the ring in a tag team battle that will be for the ages. Unfortunately, the way you should properly do this is to tease that you're deliberating who will make it to the next round while the show is going on with the contract signing. Leave people at the edge of their seats and let them be entertained by the amazing attitude and non-stop action of Super Mario and Phoenix Wright. All I know is this sportscaster can't wait for SAC Anime. It cannot come soon enough. The semifinals were nothing to write home about, but led to a very controversial choice of final contestants. The mumbling Retzko took on the unable to use a mic Britney Britney in a final match that left the audience yawning. The final winner was Retzko, probably because she knows how to use a mic. No matter how many shenanigans you pull, Britney Britney will not win over the crowd. Britney Britney will not win over anyone of any level of intellect. She was a waste and should not have been in the finals. Retzko, on the other hand, I think there's some potential there.
You know, it reminds me a lot of me when I was starting out. And really, she does have a lot of potential. I'm rooting for her. Go for it, sweetie. I believe in you.
And if you can win over our intern, congratulations, you can win over an intern. While absolute chaos may have been a black mark on the history of CWF, it doesn't mean it must always be that way. Hopefully, if this ever does come back, it'll be done more professionally with a bigger cast and better prepared contestants. All I know for sure is I am grateful that SAC Anime is coming up, and that only a few months away we will have Ale Annihilation, which should have some interesting new competitors there as well. However, until next time, I am Bacon Jake Bradley bringing it home to you with an intern, reminding you to keep it sizzling because bacon is best when it's hot. Not win over the crowd. Britney Britney will not win over anyone of any level of intellect. She was a waste and should not have been in the finals. Retzko, on the other hand, I think there's some potential there.
You know, it reminds me a lot of me when I was starting out. And really, she does have a lot of potential. I'm rooting for her. Go for it, sweetie. I believe in you.
And if you can win over our intern, congratulations, you can win over an intern. While absolute chaos may have been a black mark on the history of CWF, it doesn't mean it must always be that way. Hopefully, if this ever does come back, it'll be done more professionally with a bigger cast and better prepared contestants. All I know for sure is I am grateful that SAC Anime is coming up, and that only a few months away we will have Ale Annihilation, which should have some interesting new competitors there as well. However, until next time, I am Bacon Jake Bradley bringing it home to you with an intern, reminding you to keep it sizzling because bacon is best when it's hot. Reminding you to keep it sizzling because bacon is best when it's hot.